What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all well. In today's video I'm going to show you the Lone Ranger toy box that I've been working on for quite a while. As you can see, it's a pretty pretty expensive one, and yeah, we'll have a look at it. First off, we're going to go to Tonto's village, and yeah, I'm going to talk about the movie too. So in Tonto's village you see there's a lot of greenery and trees, and I thought, how do I put that in the world combined with the normal desert landscape without just putting a block and making it seem like not a smooth transition from the desert to grass and greenery. And as you can see, I've worked with these sort of platforms that I have put the grass pattern on, and they really helped smooth the transition, and it looks pretty great. Yeah, so here's Tonto's village. There's a lot of tents. For some reason I put two silvers, but we'll just pretend that's not happening. There's a lot of small and big trees here. Like there's a bit of a forest going on here, but not too much. This is the main tent where he learns about Tonto's past. Yeah, this is pretty much it about Tonto's village. Not much you can do here. As you can see, there's a lot of citizens and horses. I wanted to make the world feel as alive as possible. Here I put some rocks and just terrain to make the world really pop out, because you see a lot of canyons and rocks and mountainscapes, and I wanted to include that as much as possible. Here I made a big canyon, and there are some enemies here. As you can see, bomb men here. There's a lot of Butch Cavendish men. Except I took both of them at the same time. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I'm not sure I have the space to add more of them. I should put an enemy generator at first, but I just didn't think of that. You'll see in a minute that I managed to fix that, but yeah, here I just spawned a bunch of enemies without an enemy generator or anything, and with the space I have, I don't know if I can add a lot more, so I'll just leave it at that. Now there are some enemies at the top of the mountain too, and there is a way to get there. Right here I've put a platform right at the end, so we'll hop on this platform, and there should be some enemies waiting for us. Now me personally, I really enjoyed this movie. It's about top 30 favorite movies, which is quite a crazy thing to say because this movie isn't really regarded well. And there's a few reasons for that, I'll get to that in a minute, but me personally, I really enjoyed the movie. A lot of people didn't like it because they made Lone Ranger seem more like a fool in this movie than rather the hero we all know him to be. I mean, I can definitely see that, but to me it kind of felt more like an origin story, as how he became the Lone Ranger and how he learned to not trust the law. In this movie he learns how to he becomes more of a man. He's faced with tough decisions that challenge his moral code. He sticks by the law. He sees that doesn't work to him, and there's quite a transformation that I like. I think Tonto's character, played by Johnny Depp, obviously steals the show in many scenes. He is a very great character, probably the best representation of Tonto we have to date. And I mean, I just think it's a really fun Western movie. I don't think it's the greatest movie of all time, but I think it's a really fun Western movie, and every single time I watch the movie I really love it. Yeah, so you can see there's some enemies here, like this guy here, and this guy here. And I've also put some bridges above the canyon so you can kind of explore it, and a lot of peaks as well. You can definitely fall off the bridge too, so I'd be careful there. We don't want to fight them, so we just try and run as fast as we can. And shame I left the horse at the other side. There were some enemies here too, but I think they either got despawned when I added too much, or I eliminated them. I don't know which one, but nevertheless they're not there anymore. That's why I left that gap there, so you know you kind of be ambushed by which cavalryman men right as you go into the canyon. So we'll hop on back to the horse and we'll continue exploring the map. Now, one of the biggest parts of this movie is the train. There's a lot of scenes, you know, regarding the train. There's a train scene at the beginning. There's a massive train scene at the end. There's a lot to do with train tracks, and there's a problem. There are train tracks and trains in this game. However, you can only unlock them by having the Marvel Battlegrounds playset, which I do not own, and it's pretty hard to find right now, at least in my country. And yeah, you can see it has this, you know, it has all the train stuff, the containers, and there should be a subway too. Yeah, and another train here. You can only unlock them by playing as certain characters and by owning the Marvel Battlegrounds playset in the first place. So you have to play as Captain America, the Marvel First Avenger Edition. Here I have to play as Black Widow, and my biggest problem definitely has to be this. Even if I had the playset, the train track, in the Marvel Battlegrounds set, you can clearly see there's some you know, curbs for the train and left turns and right turns, and there isn't any of that. So obviously with like the racetrack pieces in this game, you have a lot of left turns, right turns, ramps, bridges. There's none of that. There's only a straight train track. And I thought, how do I make, you know, the bridge and the turns without the train track and without owning all of them? And I kind of just settled for the train piece right here, for the racetrack piece. You can clearly see this is a normal racetrack, but I put the Lone Ranger theme to it, and yeah, it's kind of like a wooden bridge, but it sort of reminds me as like the base on top of which like the train track sits. And yeah, I mean, I think it does the job. Obviously, would have preferred if there were some more training stuff in the game, and if they're be more easily unlockable, but we have to do, you know, do what we got. There's a lot of there's a lot of rocks and terrain, and I put some other tents there, as you can see, to really make the world feel alive. We also have the one Lone Ranger here. I will start with Bullseye from Toy Story because I thought that would be a fun conclusion. So yeah, let's explore, which is the main town of the city. Oh, of the town, not the city. So I think we'll just go from the other side and see the town. So yeah, I made the town as accurate as possible with all the buildings that you have. So, you know, there's the sheriff, there's the bank, there's the store right there, there's the train station, and much more. And what's fun about the buildings from Disney Infinity One playset is you can destroy them. I'll show you in a minute. But let's say you want to destroy the bank, you can just shoot it, and eventually it's gonna be destroyed. And now you can walk through the building. It's a big crater now. And you can repair the building and it will just go back to normal, and you can do that as many times as you like, and I think that's just a really fun conclusion to the game. So I'll come back to the horse. Yeah, I've made the town feel as live as possible. I've added lamps, I've added wagons, I've added this water tower that was in the movie. I've added you know, wagons, like I said, plants, boxes, just many things. And I thought, without owning any train pieces, how do I implement the train in this level? And you can see there's this train from the vehicle section, and I've used that along with wagons and stage coaches, and I've sort of made myself a little train here with what space I had left. And you can see it's taking a right turn. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to make it look like it's actually moving, sort of. So this is, you know, the front of the train, the main train. Then I've just put a bunch of wagons and, the stagecoaches, and I've put them as close to each other as possible. And this line sort of here represents like how they're kind of connected, and I've added like 3 of each. And yeah, I mean, when I wanted to add more, there wasn't enough space. I don't know if there is now, but this is the train. I think I've done a pretty good job with what I had here. Obviously, wished I could have had I could have put like a train track here on top of this racetrack if I had placed it and put some actual train containers and whatnot, but I've gotta make do with what I have. Like I said, there's many tents and villages from countless people. There's many of them because there's a lot of them in the movie too, so I wanted to make the world feel as alive as possible, as much as I could. Here we have some rocks, and there's the start of the river. Now I'll get to that in a second, but first there's also this ranch. It's a bit outside the city. This is where the woman and the kid go. I kind of forgot their names. I wish I could have put it a little bit further than the city, but it's not that far in the movie either. So yeah, you can see this is the ranch, and there's a lot of horses here, and there should be the Monsters University pig right here. Yeah, that would be a fun inclusion as well. Now the problem with these train tracks is train track. I've said the word train track so many times that now everything's just a train track. These fences are very fragile, so you have to be careful not to step trains or anything, because yeah, they'll just immediately break. Yeah, they're part of the decorations, so we'll just fix that right now. I just wanted to show you how fragile these things are. I mean, yeah, this is the ranch. Now I realized one thing. There was also that small town where they go and talk to the woman with like the gun leg, and yeah, I didn't have any space left or memory to add that. Like I said, me personally, I really enjoyed the movie. Let you guys know in the comments what you think of the movie, but me personally, it's a challenge classic. So there's a lot of people. I eventually put them in the town, but they just sort of started traveling and followed their own path, I guess. This is a set piece. It's from a Disney park. I've never visited any of them, so I have no idea which is which. But this is called the Big Thunder Railroad. And what I kind of like this is there's obviously this rail, but it kind of looks like a train track, and I don't know if it's in the Disney park. I don't know if it's based on the Lone Ranger or not, but it certainly looks like something out of the Lone Ranger. You have the mine, you have a lot of things here. I mean, if you can hop off here, you can go on the mountain. But it looks like I've missed my gap. If you're lucky, you can jump from that to that. But I've made another way to go on this mountain. I wanted to make this feel much bigger than the canyons over there. And yeah, I've added a lot of spikes and stuff. And yeah, you'll see in a second. There's a lot of terrain. I don't want to make the world feel empty. So we'll go up in a second, and then we will see what's the most challenging thing, but most exciting thing to build. But the reason why it was so challenging, even though I've left it very simple, it was a huge thing that I wanted to make, and I barely had any memory left. And every single thing I did, I couldn't add, and I had to delete something and do something. And it was quite a challenge to get that happening, but I'll show you immediately what that is. In a second, not immediately. So yeah, this is just a big mountainside, as you can clearly see. And if you keep just navigating, you'll eventually see. That's if I don't fall off, which I think I will. So let's just take this route. Seems like the obvious conclusion. Nope. Yeah, maybe I should have thought of another way. Do we fall off? No. So we'll just go this way. Right. So like I said, you can jump up from there to there. So if you walk towards here, you'll see there's an enemy generator, and it does spawn enemies. And that's what it's supposed to do. And if you keep staying in this zone, there's a lot of enemies. In the beginning of the movie, you know, when he goes with his brother, they're ambushed by a bunch of Butch Cavendish men from the top of the mountains, and this is kind of what that is in a way. So yeah, I mean, you can have as much fun as you want to. You can punch this guy off the mountain, and yeah, that's pretty much it here. Quite low health. Lone Ranger, this figure is really awesome, especially since it's a crystal edition. It's, you know, pretty much clear through plastic when I look at it. I also have Crystal Lightning McQueen, and those are my only two crystal figures. So we get on the horse, and I'll show you the last part of the road. So, this is like the train track, right? The train road, and I thought, at the end of the movie, there's sort of a big train scene where they go on a bridge and they blow up a bridge and the train goes, you know, there's a river, and yeah, I've added that. This is the bridge, and you know, when the bridge falls off, there's a river down, as you can clearly see. I've added the river, and I've kind of made the bridge already look blown up. And there's a lot of greenery here too, so I've also added that. There's this sort of platforms, there's like X shape for the entire bridge. As like, I thought, how can I add that? And this took a lot of space, so I just made it look blown up. But yeah, hopefully I don't get copyrighted for the music. I put it as low as possible. There's also a waterfall here, and you can climb up to deal with the enemies too. Also put some trees here, and some river side, some ponds. It's just a beautiful place. Again, I've used the same tactic where I didn't just want to leave a square, so I've added these large floors to make it look as smooth as possible. Actually, I think this one will actually be pretty good. So I'll just add that in a second to make the transition look even more smooth. And yeah, this is the bridge where they blow it up with dynamite. Now the reason why I put it behind the mountain is in the movie when they're in town and they're giving awards to I forgot the name of the character, but Butch Cavendish's brother and Butch Cavendish were given award for the train and everything they've done. You can see smoke coming back from behind the mountain, so you can see smoke from like behind there. You can kind of see a bridge, so I thought that would be the perfect inclusion, because I added this before like rewatching the movie, because I watched it once when I was a kid and I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to rewatch it so I can, you know, make this world as much accurate as possible, and that I can have fun with it too, and you know, get to see a movie that I really loved as a kid and I still really love now. And yeah, you see the smoke coming out from like there, and you don't see much. You just see, like, you see where the ram like lifts up, and you kind of see a bit of a bridge, but like the full bridge and where the explosion happens behind the mountain. And I thought that was pretty perfect conclusion. And yeah, this is pretty much it with the world. There's also some missions here that you can do. Right here, there's a mini game you can do where, as you can see, you can race against the clock to use your mount to call as many townspeople as you can. And yeah, there's just a lot of things you can do, and it's also, it obviously feels, I mean, well, you want to feel as alive as possible, also keeping the desert and Wild West feeling, because if you even look at the team here, stop the horse. If you look at the team here, you clearly see desert, but you clearly see a bunch of, you know, mountainsides and stuff, and small villages. And I kind of wanted to, you know, incorporate that as best as I possibly could, while also making the world feel very alive. And I think I've done a pretty decent job with that. Now, I ain't really good at programming or including as many play features as possible. Still working on that, but yeah, this is what I have for today's video. Also, I did this to both here because I just thought that would be a pretty fun inclusion out of the ordinary. Because, you know, it's Wild West, there barely are any rivers or stuff, so I thought, like, you know, two random upside down boats would just be pretty funny. And yeah, this is pretty much the end for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll just keep making toy boxes based on other Disney movies, Star Wars, Marvel. So if you enjoyed that, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.